So let's begin. We begin as we usually do with some kind of practice. And as you know, inquiry is about getting in touch with yourself, with your experience. And one of the ways that we do that is to include our physical sensing of our body. So we're going to begin with the sensing practice to help us land in where we are right now. And you can start this practice with your eyes closed. And as we do the sensing practice, we're going to do it slightly differently than usual. And we're going to use it to highlight a little bit of what we'll be working with this evening. So as we begin, just notice how you're feeling right now. And just where you're at. The end of your day, perhaps, or if you're in a different time zone, maybe the beginning. Notice your energy levels, your feeling, emotional state. And however in touch with your body you are as we begin, whatever you can sense. Notice how your mind is. Is it feeling noisy and chattery, or is it quiet and still? Is there something particular on your mind right now? And then noticing all of that, bring your attention and your concentration down to sensing your right foot. Sense your right foot. So you'll notice the experience and sensation of your right foot is something that's happening right now. Right? You can sense into that right foot, your right ankle, your right lower leg. And you can be aware that there is experience happening there in the moment. So just like with mindfulness, you can pay attention and be aware of this immediate happening, occurring experience. And now include your right knee. You'll notice it's not static, right? In a way, it's almost like watching a coral reef. There's something that's alive and moving and shifting, and you're giving it your attention. You're being aware of it. So we're practicing our capacity for awareness. Let your awareness move up your right upper leg, being aware of whatever you find in your thigh, your inner thigh, your outer thigh. Really sensing those sensations. And you're not just aware of them, but you're really sensing them. You're really in touch. So it's not like you're looking at them from a distance, but you're sensing the sensations of your right leg in this very immediate, palpable, moment-by-moment way. Now sensing your right hip, your right buttock. Getting in touch with whatever you notice there. Right? Whatever the sensation may be, there's no right, no wrong. You aren't supposed to find any particular thing or not find any particular thing. There may be aches or pains or energy. You may be sensing skin or muscle or temperature. Really, whatever is there in your experience, whatever you find in your awareness, you get in touch with it and you stay in touch with it. Right? So there's this awareness. And now bring your concentrated awareness to your right hand and see what that's what's happening there. If you're aware and in touch with the sensations of your right hand. Now I want you to add something different. How would you describe what's happening there? Right? If you could give it a word, tingling, an ache, feeling of emptiness, there's a gap there. Feel the cold fingers, a little shivery. So you're aware and you're sensing and you're articulating. You're recognizing it. We don't usually do this in the sensing practice, but this combination of awareness and sensing and saying something, recognizing, this is a big part of inquiry. Let your sensing come up your right forearm to your right elbow and notice a couple of the details, right? So you're in touch, you recognize and notice some of the particulars of what you're experiencing in your right forearm. And sort of let the thought or the word occur to you. Feel the warmth of my arm against my leg, the length of the forearm, and so on. So you're aware and sensing and recognizing. And then come up your right upper arm, and see what's happening there. Once again, aware and then sensing, then a word or two. There's no pressure, there's no right or wrong, just in a nice, relaxed, easy way. What are you noticing? What are you in touch with? And then your right shoulder. Same thing. Aware and sensing, and then saying a word or two of what stands out in the experience for you. Actually verbalizing it to yourself as you're recognizing it. And then let your sensing come across to your left shoulder and do the same. Aware and sense, and just a word or two about what's happening there. How is it for you? What are you finding? And continue doing that as you sense down your left arm, the upper arm, the elbow, the forearm. Just recognizing a couple of things that you're sensing as you go. And then your left wrist and hand and fingers. So you might notice that you're aware and you're sensing, and you allow these recognitions to arise and even mention the words internally without leaving the experience, as you continue to stay in touch with it. You can notice a minute later, like notice your left hand now. It might be different than what it was a minute ago. You might be drawn to something slightly different in the experience. or you recognize a different element of it. But all the while, you're staying in touch. Now shift your focus to your left buttock, your left hip and pelvis. See what you notice there. As you bring your awareness and your sensing and your recognition. Feel the weight of my body, the pressure against the chair. It's like a feeling of density. Feel the sit bones and the fleshiness of my thigh. Whatever it is for you. And then sensing down the left leg, the left upper leg. Sensing and noticing a couple of things as you go. And then coming to your left knee. Like, what can you notice in there? You take the time. You have to sense it first, right? You have to be in touch and really sensing it before you can recognize what you're in touch with. The sensing comes first. And then sensing down your left lower leg, then your left ankle and heel and foot. Sensing the immediate sensations of your left lower leg and foot. And again, letting a word or two express what you recognize there, what you're conscious of. Now sense both arms and both legs. Let your whole body, the sensations of your whole body, come into your attention. Be in touch with that, and again, just notice a couple of things that stand out for you, that you see, you recognize. And now shift your attention to your listening. So you tune in to the whole soundscape. You're hearing, you're listening as attentively as you can. My voice, background sounds in your environment. And again, as you're in touch with this living field of sound, just let yourself recognize a few things in it. What can you tell? A bit of traffic, sense of silence, Donna's voice, wish he would keep quiet, whatever it is. And then, when you're ready, let your eyes open and begin to add looking. Consciously looking, being in touch with your visual experience, the experience of your environment. Noticing whatever you're aware of, and then also recognizing things. Let yourself recognize and note some of what you see. So now you're sensing and looking and listening. And take a moment to notice, just reflect on how has this affected you? And what can you see? What's it been like To sense, look and listen with the awareness, the in-touchness, and some recognition of what you were in touch with as you went. Like, what's the effect of that? So in a certain simple way, right, this points to one of the basic skills of inquiry, the very fundamental and important skills of inquiry, which is to be able to be in touch with your experience, to be actually aware of it and in touch with it in a sort of moment-to-moment way, and at the same time to be able to take the time to recognize what's there, to recognize what's showing up in your consciousness, and to find the words for it, to find the articulation. Right? So it's an amazing practice when you think about it, that combines the awareness and the immediacy that we have in meditation, that we might usually think of if we do mindfulness or some other kind of meditation, with the articulation and the clarity and the discrimination and the noticing of what's really there as it's there while we're in touch with it, that we might usually associate with various other inner practices like journaling or coaching or psychology of various kinds. And it is this unique combination of the immediacy and the articulation that is kind of one of the foundations, one of the basic elements of inquiry. Of course, it's just the beginning, right? Because then as we get in touch and we begin to notice things that are there, then we start to get curious about them. Like, we want to find out about them, right? But before you can really explore it and find out about it, you have to be in touch with it. You have to be actually feeling and in touch with some sort of immediate experience. And then you have to give yourself the time to actually recognize it. Now, we were doing this practice as I was walking you through the sensing practice. We were doing that with sensing sensations of the body, right? So that's one way you can do it. And it's relatively easy because you can say, okay, let me focus on my hand and let me say something about it. And then I can say something else about it, notice something else, and just keep staying with it and notice what happens as I keep staying in touch and recognizing what's there. And it probably moves and shifts from moment to moment. It's more subtle to do that with a feeling, right? Oh, I'm feeling carefree, or I'm feeling sad, or I'm feeling frustrated. Right? So how is it to tune into a feeling state and to hang out with it and to give yourself the time to find the words to express it and to, give words to it. Say how you experience it. Right? I feel carefreeness, feels light, feels like there's an openness, a lightness, a weightlessness in my heart. Makes me feel very open and free. Right? So again, I can stay with that feeling as I'm having the feeling, as I'm in touch with it, and see what can I say about that feeling. Right? How would I describe it? If I were talking to somebody who isn't having the experience, right? How would I be describing it to them? Right? As I'm sensing and feeling and in touch. So that's more of a knack with feelings, more of a skill. And it's actually even more subtle with ideas and thoughts with our minds, right? Because the mind is so slippery. As soon as you start to pay attention to, well, what do I really think about that? Yeah, I'm having this thought about, my friend. I'm annoyed that they didn't come and see me this afternoon. Well, what do I really think about them? What are the thoughts, or what are the judgments that are going on there? It's actually more subtle, right? The mind is so slippery, but you can do it, right? It takes a bit of patience to hang out with your mind and to be interested to find out, what do you think about something, right? What is your idea about it, or your thought? But you can do it, it's possible. So I want to do one last little guided practice to kind of give you a sense of this. And again, I'd invite you to close your eyes and take your pick. I want you to sense in and either find a sensation that's here, right? Or your feeling state, if you feel like trying that out. And just to yourself, right? See if you get in touch with your feelings, with how you're feeling, just in the moment. Whatever that feeling is. So firstly, to feel it, to actually notice, oh, this feeling is here. Or this sensation, if you're doing a sensation, this sensation is here. I'm actually in touch with it. It's happening right here in the moment. And then to see, what could you say about it? How would you describe it? Like, what is it? And just keep doing that. Just give yourself some time to hang out with the immediate experience and just notice things about it. Notice whatever you notice about it. So you're just curious and open, not trying to change it or do anything to it. You just want to find out about it. Give it some words, describe it. And now, take a moment to see, how's that affected you? And see if anything's changed. How do you feel about recognizing your feeling, right? Or your sensation more clearly? What sort of effect does it have? And then you can, I was going to say you can let that go, but that doesn't feel relevant. You can pause where you're at. And let's take some space here, just to have some discussion. Right? If you have you want to share what happened for you, or you have a question or a comment. As I'm bringing in this particular angle of something that's central to inquiry, what would you, anything you'd like to share or say or ask?